The latest news, national issues, the political scene, and conversations with prominent personalities. All these firsthand at the forefront. Good morning. I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. He's a member of the Macho Block eyeing to return to the Senate this coming 2025 elections. Just like former Senator Ping Lacson, his decision to return is anchored on his unfinished business in the legislative body with regards to economic and social reforms as well as national security. Will Gringo Honasan get the opportunity to serve again in the Senate? Joining us this morning live at the BNC studio is former Senator and former DICT Secretary, Gringo Honasan. Good morning, Senator Greg.
Morning, Attorney Karen. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for your time, Senator. So we want to get to know you better by showing photos on our LED and give us a brief description of what comes to your mind. So we'll have our first photo. So a lot of people don't know that you spent part of your childhood in Taiwan.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And why did you end up in Taiwan at that time?
Because my father was assigned as military attaché under Ambassador Narciso Ramos, father of former President Fidel Ramos.
Oh, wow. Very small world. Yung mga second generation din kayo eventually. And did you end up learning how to speak Mandarin?
Ni hao ma.
So that's yun na yung naalala niyo.
Conversational.
Up to now?
No, bits and pieces of Mandarin.
Can you give us an example of a sentence?
A sentence. Ni hao ma, o han hao xie xie.
Oh, that's galing.
Oh, pero ang tagal na nun. 9 years old ako nun, Karen.
Oo po, yeah. And let's look at the next picture. So these are your parents, Colonel Romeo and Miss Alicia Honasan.
Yes.
And growing up, what was it like to have a father who was sent to the Korean War and to...
not only Korean War, veteran of the Bataan Death March. My mother was a teacher in Baguio. No, my father served in the Philippine Military Academy, where I was born. So my first conscious moments were to the sound of bugles and drums.
Oh, wow.
Philippine Military
So
Academy.
sanay talaga. And that's why you ended up going also to the PMA.
Nako, hindi. Attorney Karen, no? Dati gusto kong maging pare. I wanted to become a priest, no? So maybe service was wired into me by my both parents, no? And then I changed my mind. I thought I would want to become a doctor. My father told me, with his salary as a soldier, as a professional soldier, medicine would be expensive, being the eldest. So sabi niya, that's out of the question. Your siblings will not get the same opportunity to study. So I went to the UP, spent 3 semesters. And
Which course did you take at that time?
I wanted to take up economics for lack of a better course to take. Pero hindi ako umabot, Karen, sa School of Economics. During the 3 semesters, I asked my father, so what do I do? What do you suggest? Sabi niya, why don't you take the entrance exams to the Philippine Military Academy?
And that's a very hard school to get into. Did you find that having a father who's also an alumnus of the Philippine Military Academy to be an advantage or disadvantage in terms of being a student at PMA?
Both.
Both?
Oh, because by reputation, my father served as the Presidential Security Commander under former Presidents Magsaysay and Garcia.
Is it true that he was the person, your father, that created what we now know as the Presidential Security Group,
Yes,
PSG?
it was a battalion-sized unit then, no? But it was rather, they exacted very high standards for that unit. They were beating the Philippine Military Academy during the marching competitions during Independence Day. So that spoke of the kind of discipline that they imposed on the presidential security. By the way, Karen, I got familiar also with the layout in Malacanang Palace, in the Malacanang Park.
Because he would bring you as a child?
Yes, I saw two presidents wearing their pajamas when he inspected the guards.
Wow. And did that inspire you to enter public service? To be around these important people?
I was not that conscious then that they were that important, but I knew they were the president of the Philippines. No? So my father would take me around inspecting during wee hours in the morning. So that compound, no? The complex, bisected by the Pasig River, was my playground. I used to swim in the Pasig River.
Oh, wow. I wish ganun pa rin kalinis. So, and then, your other siblings, did any of them also follow in the footsteps of your father?
No. Architecture, business, gano'n.
So, yung mga na-deprive sa'yo, napunta sa kanila?
Punta sa kanila.
And what about your mother?
My mother was a teacher, as usual, no? Makulit, disciplinarian, but nothing physical.
But you know, Senator Gringo, your features are not typical Filipino. May pagka-tisoy po kayo. Kanino nanggaling yun among your parents?
I was hoping you would not ask that question because I used to think that my great-great-grandmother was typical Filipina, no? Balingkinitan, morena. Siguro naliligo sa ilog noon, no? And overlooking it was the church. Siguro nag-aerobics yung pare. Yes, my theory, no? Baka pinasadahan eh. That's why I look like this.
Pero so may mga, probably lahi po kayo Spanish or
I suppose. I did not take the interest to look into my,
your
why I
genetic
look like this.
Well, I'm sure you can trace that. There's already 23andMe and other genetic tests right now that you can look into your history.
My mother was a Chinese, Spanish mestiza. That's how they described her.
And let's look at this next picture. And this is your wife,
That's
Jane
my wife.
O'Malley. And
Yes.
we heard that your first dance with her on New Year's Eve resulted in a lifetime of partnership.
Yes, I was officer of the day during the time in Fort Magsaysay. And the commanding general said, okay, this is New Year's Eve, just change it to something civilian, no? And then attend the party for the personnel of the Tabak Division during the time, no? In Fort Magsaysay. That's where I met my wife, who was working with the Red Cross. And then, kinukulit ako ka rin ng blood donation. So, I decided na bigay ko na lahat.
Even your commitment for a lifetime. But was it love at first sight for you?
There was I think on my part, no? There was attraction, of course. No? I was not really focused on looking for a lifetime partner during that time, but she turned out to be a very, very important and wise choice.
And among your children, is there anyone who followed in your footsteps? Because we don't see any of your children in politics.
By maternal edict, no, Atty. Karen, my wife said no one would follow my footsteps in the sense that they would not follow a military career. No one would enter politics. So our children are artists and musicians.
I know you have, one of your children is a famous painter.
Martin, second son.
Yes.
Yes, he's exhibiting his works globally.
Very impressive. And let's look at the next picture. So this is Colonel Victor Corpus.
Yes.
And how did he influence you as a soldier?
He was our professor in political science.
At the PMA?
At the PMA. And I belong to the notorious PMA class of 1971.
Yes.
The class of Senator Lacson and other illustrious members. No? Colonel Vic Corpus, then a lieutenant, was our professor in political science. Every time he would enter the classroom, he would give us a choice, what they want to discuss. The lesson plan, which is the book, or the social pyramid. We usually chose the social pyramid para mas madali yung mga exam.
Mas madali po ba? Talaga?
Hindi pwedeng qualitative.
What is a social pyramid?
Of course, the influence of the top 5% over the remaining 95% of our people in terms of development, access to the basic needs, no? Food, clothing, shelter, education, health.
Okay, that's interesting because it applies still up to now. And what is something that Colonel Victor Corpus taught you that you still remember and apply up to today?
Stand up for what is right. You will find yourselves alone. By the way, he defected during one Christmas break when we were out on Christmas vacation. Had we been there when he defected, I think some of us would have joined him.
Oh, you mean, was this what era? Which president?
President Marcos.
So martial law era.
Barcelona, oh.
Interesting. And you find yourself later on being part of that government and having a significant role in terms
Yes.
of the People Power Revolution.
Yes, but the Reform the Armed Forces movement was born when the President Marcos Sr., had health issues and very few people knew. And we felt it in the field where we were, no? When we saw the blank faces of civilians, innocent civilians, men, women, children, no? Whose property and lives were affected by the armed conflict, which they did not create. So we thought that something was wrong, no? The orders that were emanating from the level of the commander-in-chief were not responsive anymore to the needs of the people we claimed we were protecting and serving, no? So that's how the RAM, the reform movement, was born.
And let's look at another picture, and this is related to another significant person that was also part of the People Power Revolution. So, former Senator Juan Ponce Enrile, is it true that you consider him as your second father?
Surrogate father.
Surrogate.
Not only in my case, Atty. Karen, no? But in the case of those who served under him. He was a strict boss, but very fair. He was also intellectually qualified. He was the number 2 man in a martial law situation. He influenced our thinking, our approach to performance of duty. And he provided also the umbrella for us to develop some flexibility when we perform our duty.
So what was the dynamic like having you at some point be a colleague in Senate of Juan Ponce Enrile, and then you also have your Mista, Senator Ping Lacson.
Senator Lacson.
Were you the only class in PMA that had 2 senators?
Yes,
Class 71.
understand. Yes,
So
and I
impressive.
guess I understand the most number of generals.
The most generals
So,
as well.
2 senators. 2 of our classmates became chief of the Philippine Constabulary. That includes Senator Lacson. And 1 became chief of staff. General
Very
Narciso.
exceptional class, no?
Well, not exceptional. Some use the word notorious.
But in a very good way. So with Senator Juan Ponce Enrile and then Senator Ping there, what was the dynamic like in Senate when you were all together?
Collegial. We would even debate with each other on the floor. It was, a collegial body is interesting, no? You really are allowed to compete in the free market of ideas, vision, and leadership, no? In a collegial body whose job description was to make laws.
So your dynamic, having Juan Ponce Enrile as your former boss, it no longer affected your dynamic naman in Senate. It was more collegial, so
Yeah,
on
more
equal
collegial.
footing when you would debate.
We're on equal terms. Yeah.
Very interesting. And let's look at the next picture. This is FPJ, and we heard that when he ran for president, you volunteered to provide for his security?
3 of us. Former Senate President, member of the Macho Block also, no? Senator Tito Soto, was the personal campaign manager. The late Senator Tessie Aquino Oreta was the admin and finance. I was security. So nasa truck sila, nandun ako with my backpack and my trying to be incognito, providing security for him.
But why did you have that much trust and admiration for FPJ to even volunteer for his security?
Democracy. The essence of a true democracy, as we applied it also during the snap elections of 1986, no? In a democracy, you need a live, healthy opposition so that the people can be given a free choice.
So at that time, you wanted to support having a free choice between that time, FPJ, and against President Gloria Arroyo.
Yes. I never really shed my uniform as a soldier. No? I was looking at it from the perspective of democracy. Elections is about being able to choose the better candidate. So it was not so much my personal affinity with FPJ. I believed in his sincerity, his desire to serve.
And you weren't worried that he didn't have any track record in public service when he ran for president?
That's up to the electorate, not to decide, Attorney Karen. No? You choose, you use your best lights to choose the person whom you think can serve the Filipino people.
And let's look at the next picture. And this is the Senate Macho Block. I'm actually blocking the other one here. Senator Ping is here and Senator Tito Soto is behind you. Who thought of the name Macho Block?
I think it spontaneously, by the way, the original Macho Block, no, with all due respect to Senator Lito Lapid, was a close friend, no, was Senator Soto, Senator Lacson, myself, and Senator Loren. It sort of gelled naturally. We used to have regular dinners, exchange notes, lobby with each other for support for our advocacies. So we found ourselves, being close to each other.
Who thought of the name Macho?
I cannot recall anymore.
You
Parang
can't remember
lumabas na.
anymore.
Well, Macho Block seems to be inappropriate for Senator Loren, no?
Yes.
But we thought she had the character and the
macho-ness. And then
Macho-ness.
you have 4 members of the Macho Block. Tito Soto, Senator Ping, and then now Lito Lapid and yourself running for re-election this 2025. Why did you not choose to run in the same political party?
I was not included. It was not my choice. Karen, historically, I became the first truly independent senator in Philippine political history in 1995. I sort of maintained that trajectory, because I thought that political parties do not really function as they should.
Well, not in the Philippines. It's personality-based,
Yes.
not really political party-based. And let's look at the next picture. This is Senator Robin Padilla, but we heard that he will be portraying you in an upcoming biographical film.
Yes, which has been put on the shelf muna. Senator Robin is my inaanak.
In a wedding?
In a wedding, when he was detained in the National Penitentiary.
So are you the ninong for him and Mariel?
No.
In a different prior marriage?
Yes, a prior marriage.
Interesting, very small world. So if the movie pushes through, Robin will still play your part?
Yes, he was a personal choice because I felt that he had the heart. He had the brains, but more importantly, he had the heart.
And then, at that time, who is your inaanak na ex-wife ni Senator Robin?
Si Lisel.
Is she still in the Philippines, or we heard she...
I am not sure anymore.
Okay. So you're more in touch with Senator Robin
Yes.
now. Okay. And let's go to politics. So how did you keep yourself busy while you had your time away from politics?
Helping, unconditionally. In fact, my desire to help, is not anchored on my return to the Senate. In fact, we are constantly in touch with those in government, those in the political opposition, to make sure that we focus on what constitutes public and the highest national interest.
And who seeks your advice right now? Would you say people in the administration or those outside? Across
the political divide. So regularly, now Presidential Chief Legal Counsel and
so that's Juan Ponce Enrile,
yes. And for special concerns, occasionally he calls his former staff to find out, update kami.
And Now that there's this divide in the administration between the president and the vice president, were you ever sought for advice as to how to deal with this situation? Because in recent history, we haven't had this really stark conflict.
To me, Atty. Karen, no, that's pure politics. It should not distract us from what constitutes our basic needs, no? Our permanent situation, which is to address the need for food, clothing, shelter, education, health, and now the new gold, the new oil, no? Data, information. That should be the focus. And then if you anchor it on constitutional principles, as we try to protect life, number one, liberty, property, and if we borrow from Western tradition, no? The pursuit of happiness. What good is life, liberty, and property if you're not happy?
Mm-hmm. And when you were formerly DICT Secretary, you served as DICT Secretary under President Duterte. What were your major accomplishments at that time with the DICT?
800% increase in baseline broadband internet speed. Pag static ka, 800% increase. Free Wi-Fi rollout, 500%. Then common tower, di ba? Spectrum management policy. We did quite a lot within the limited time. So I felt that, again, there's unfinished business there, which I will try to convert into an advocacy if I am entrusted by the Filipino people, again, with a mandate to serve in the Senate, which is digitalization. Doing things faster, no? More precise delivery of basic services, which is a mapping problem, Atty. Karen, no? And a baseline data management problem. Data.
Well, a lot of people always complain that there's a duopoly in our telecom system, which affects access to affordable data and internet connection. Dito has not really made such a big dent on the market. On the side of Senate, should you return to Senate, how do you intend to make internet connectivity, data access more affordable for Filipinos?
We will start with the basics. Now, when I was the ICT Secretary, Atty. Karen, no, the National Telecommunications Commission was under the DICT, including the CICC, the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center. No? Let's go to the NTC. The only mandate that was, openly followed was the allocation of spectrum. So some groups got the frequencies, used some, kept some, and sold some. You cannot do that. The frequencies are state property. So if you bring them to court, no?
You could invalidate the sale.
Yes, but the procedure, as usual, is protracted. It will be resolved maybe 5 presidents down the line. So we go to a more expedient form of decision-making, which is executive action. Something that the previous administration saw as the potential for faster delivery. Executive action, no? An EO, an AO has the same, of course, Atty. Karen, who am I to tell you about these things? No?
And Senator Gringo, when you served as the ICT Secretary, there was an issue against you about the use of confidential funds. And now confidential funds is another very hot topic.
Yes.
So how was that resolved? But before you answer that question, let's take a short break. At the Forefront, we'll be right back.
Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, what does the investigation cover? We tackle the issues,
The president's immunity from suit is absolute.
we clarify matters, and we get on point.
Watch his press con. Sinabi niya na ayaw niya ng kudita.
What is questionable about the AR, sir? The Vice President keeps insisting walang active threat kung hindi ako mamamatay.
Tignan na lang natin, mahirap pang pangunahan eh.
Pinky Webb on point. Hello, good morning. I'm Paulo De Rosario and welcome to Weather HQ. Today's headline: Philbox says 20 volcanic quakes were recorded from Canlaon volcano in the past 24 hours. An agricultural tracking application gets recognized globally for helping Filipino farmers. Copernicus Climate Change Service says 2024 will be the hottest year on since the records began.
I think most of us understand the value that forests provide in terms of yung oxygen, yung water supply.
Whatever the weather, only here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Beauty, health, adventure. This is for you. Join Marie Lozano, where she uncovers the untold stories and unexpected surprises in the world of lifestyle.
We wanted to create a space where we could dive into these topics not just by talking to experts, but experiencing the topics firsthand. Let me tell you about the Lifestyle Lab.
On BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Rain Musngi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. The crypto market climbed over $800 billion. Tech giant Alibaba has announced plans to issue notes. Investors are anticipating a significant downward move for the cryptocurrency. Swift is adding a new chapter to her record-breaking year.
Follow the Money, 10:30 a.m.
Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Always on top.
Welcome back at the forefront. Senator Gringo, when you served as DICT Secretary, there was an issue against you about confidential funds. How was that issue resolved?
Ignorance, lack of data. We reported to the President. Some of our systems, which I will not elaborate because of, for obvious reasons, no? Some of our systems are hacked, including the Office of the President. We reported to the President. Remedial measures were undertaken. And it was nipped in the bud. But let me add, Karen, no? That the appreciation of government itself for information and communications technology being the future, allowing us to do things faster based on accurate, timely, and complete data seems to be lacking. We need to educate government itself so that we can digitize and intervene in a more precise manner.
So at that time, the issue on confidential funds had something to do with the hacking of systems that the DICT had to deal with.
Yes, but those who raised this issue apparently did not do their homework.
The issue came from where? Who raised the issue?
In the legislature.
Was it also Congress at that time?
Congress and the Senate.
And the liquidation that the DICT made, was it made to the Commission on Audit?
Yes. We passed the
necessary paperwork.
Yes.
So in your belief, one, does this issue, every time there's a question on confidential funds, should it be resolved by the Commission on Audit or by, for example, a committee hearing that's similar to what they're doing now in Congress?
Procedural. The first agency or institution where the red flag should be raised is COA. That's where you go through the test. No? So confidential funds are also impact on national security. We have this interesting habit, Atty. Karen, no? Of exposing our strengths and weaknesses as a developing country to temporary friends and adversaries. I think we should be more, discerning about this issue. Yes.
You mean when it comes to data
hearings,
management,
data management,
yes.
hearings. You'll be surprised at the number of public hearings and plenary debates I have gone through with the proponents debating passionately based on conflicting data with their own experts. So medyo may problema tayo sa baseline data management.
Yes, and I think a lot of government agencies also have that issue. So Department of Agriculture,
Yes.
a lot
PhilHealth.
of the, yes, that's true.
Yes.
The data is not consistent, not uniform, and not timely.
Not timely, yes.
Yes.
And for us to make rational, intelligent, informed long-term decisions that will impact on individuals and our government itself, no? That data should be sorted out.
And this is something that the DICT can help with.
Yes, but again, we have to, raise the appreciation of government itself, not only the legislature, for the importance of information and communications technology, digitalization, connectivity. That was my mandate when I was designated as secretary. The marching orders were connect government to other governments, domestic and global, government to business for productivity, to the citizens and everybody to each other. Do this faster, cheaper, if not free. Simple.
Yes, and for Filipinos, that would really help a lot of the application processes, yung paperwork required if you're claiming for SSS, for example, or your benefits from PhilHealth.
Business permits.
Yes, that's true. Para yung paperwork mabawasan. So are there any efforts right now to speed up the connection and data information available to all of these government agencies?
No, Atty. Karen, we publicly declare that we want to computerize. Yung pangunang buzzword, computerize, digitize everything. But there is subliminal resistance to that for interesting reasons.
Yes. Including local governments. And
Local government.
I know Customs had this computerization program, but it seems like it's been many years, but they haven't really fully accomplished in computerization.
Atty. Karen, that is, I don't know. There's this issue of trust. You're standing in front of a desk, was a bureaucrat behind it. You get this impression that this person does not trust you. No, you have to prove that you need to be trusted. Di ba dapat baliktad? I trust you. These are the rules. You break the rules, I throw the book at you.
So now we're going to talk about some national issues, and we'll give you 30 seconds to explain your stand on each of the issues. So first, ayuda. Timer starts now.
Within the law, do it procedurally, subject to accounting and auditing procedures. Post-audit, pre-audit. Basta't accounted for yung public funds. That's taxpayers' money.
And you think it should come from Congress?
Congress, di ba? Self-regulation, self-discipline, transparency. Public funds yan.
And pag pinapabigay ng mga congressmen, you think that's still appropriate? Or dapat taga-legislate lang sila nung budget?
Yun nga eh. Legislation ang trabaho ng Congress. No? Both houses, by the way. No? It cannot possibly be attributed to, the generosity and the good heart of our legislators. Ayuda is to help.
Oo, so it should be government agencies.
It should also be based on data. Di ba? You go for the poorest, the farthest, and the smallest. It's like a railroad. No railroad earns by itself. It's the economic activity. So you connect the farthest, the poorest, even if there are few votes and hindi ka kikita ron, you balance the interest.
Oo, so it's really based on the need, not on potentially the effect on the elections.
And precise intervention. No? It's not so much, is there electricity? Is there contact? Is there connectivity? Para who has no electricity, whose bridge was washed out, who are isolated. Para the intervention is precise and fast.
Next, impeachment of the Vice President. Timer starts now.
Politics.
So that's short. It's just all politics.
That's visibility and audibility. It should not distract us, government itself and the citizens, from the real problems.
So are you saying we should be focusing more on the issues of the country and not proceed with an impeachment?
Because that results in personal conflict, which is not good for our next generation of citizens and leaders. They're watching. Is this what the national conversation is all about? Ito ba yung pinag-uusapan ng mga pinakamataas nating leader? Not a good example.
And Congress Quadcom. Timer starts now.
That's beyond my salary grade. 300 congressmen. That should be a judgment call. They know what they're doing.
Okay, ICC probing the Duterte drug war. Timer starts now.
Are we admitting that we cannot administer justice to... If we cannot administer justice to a president, are we expected to administer justice to ordinary citizens?
So sovereignty is your position.
Sovereignty, freedom.
Yeah. Zero budget to PhilHealth. Timer starts now.
Procedural, that's a judgment call of Congress, where the budget emanates. let PhilHealth account for public funds. Now, if you declare, let me add as a side issue, if you declare savings, no, it means that you have fulfilled all your obligations. That's the caveat for declaring savings. Di ba? So, again, procedural. No? Again, baseline data management, precise intervention, doing things faster, deciding fast.
And West Philippine Sea. Timer starts now.
That's ours. If we cannot protect our fishermen who are fishing to feed their families, again, food, no? We call ourselves sovereign. Let me go to another issue. If we cannot feed our own people rice from our own production, when we taught our neighboring countries how to plant quality rice without smuggling or importing, why do we call ourselves a sovereign nation?
So we really have to protect the West Philippine Sea.
Protect security. That's the generic advocacy.
And this one is also very controversial. Flood control projects. Timer starts now.
Land use. Land use, National Disaster Risk Reduction Management. Twin advocacies. Land and water use. Every time it rains, you know, we have water up to our neck. Containment. So land and water use, what areas do you want for residential, commercial, industrial, government, and so that we know where to build roads, bridges, ports, railroads.
Okay, so proper zoning as well.
Proper zoning.
Yes.
We're relegated now to zoning ordinances. We need a national land use policy.
Yes. Later, I want to discuss more about land use. And traffic in Metro Manila, this is a perennial problem.
Land use. Diba, you have to decongest, move government out of the urban centers, no? By the way, I wanted to add, Karen, no? Every 30 years our population doubles. So we should have a 30-year development plan because we will need more schools, no? More government offices, no? More public transport. Planning, again, land use.
Yeah. And I agree with decongesting because if we are multiplying, the land in Metro Manila is not multiplying.
I heard from a marketing person that we are selling 1,000 cars a day in Metro Manila.
Eh, wala kasing mass transport. What else can you do, right? Hindi mo naman malakad lahat. But,
Pwede ko pa idagdag, Karen. No? During the time of President Marcos Sr., the Japanese aid agencies, no, made us choose. You want a railroad or the Pan-Philippine Highway? Guess what we chose? The Pan-Philippine Highway. I said, okay, that's your choice. We should have chosen a railroad.
Yes.
But the Japanese knew that they would need markets for Toyota and Honda down the line.
But,
so they were more forward-looking.
They were planning several steps ahead.
Yes. But we are an archipelago. So kailangan i-strengthen yung maritime industry din naman natin.
So having also vessels that can transport in the sea.
Yes.
And let's go to your advocacies. You mentioned land use plan. And this seems to affect a lot of things, including the traffic situation, flooding issues. Can you give us more details as to how you envision this type of solution that can become a law?
Ironically, when I proposed the land use plan, those who supported me were my allies politically. Who supported me were my opponents politically. Those who opposed me were my allies politically.
Sino-sino po yun?
Please, Atty. Karen, I'll be put on the spot. But, yeah, so that's something that I would follow through on, land use. No? Pero again, I fall back on information. No? Freedom of information, right of reply, so that there will be transparency. No?
But with the land use plan, if we exercise proper zoning at a national level, would that law that you are envisioning be enforced to also relocate? Kasi yun yung contentious issue, right? Like if you look at even Bonifacio Global City, which is now super prime, very expensive, you have a mix of informal settlers also there in the middle of commercial areas. Is this something that you think there would be political will for?
Yun nga, you mentioned the magic word, political will. No? I used to be chairman of the Senate Committee on Urban Planning, Housing, and Resettlement. There is resistance to decongestion and relocation. You know why? who is the elected official who will relocate the source of his votes?
Yeah, exactly. I also experienced that when I was with the Department of Public Works. Pag right of way, nahihirapan with the local government because they don't want to relocate their voters.
Yeah, so political will again, no? It should be a collective effort naman. National priorities. I wanted to add that also. Our sense of national priorities has to be upgraded a little, no? Dahil, di ba? Usually, ang consideration is ilan pa boto dyan? Saan ba tayo kikita dyan?
But would a law be sufficient? Do you think including penalties is something that would trump the lack of political will of local governments?
More than the laws, political will. Difficult decisions. No. I was explaining this to a former president. Sabi ko, super majority in the House and the Senate. Diba? You are appointing 10 Supreme Court justices. You have command and control over the coercive powers of the state. Command and control over 3 legally authorized armed groups. The AFP, the PNP, and the NBI. One term ka lang. What else would you need? Diba? Without going through the usual shortcuts. Yeah.
And you are also one of the very qualified people to address national security, given your background. And with that type of focus, what do you think are pressing issues relating to national security?
Very basic. It will sound motherhood, Atty. Karen. No? Harmony in our families. You secure your family first. Cooperation in the communities. Order in the state. Inclusive growth. Security in our shores. And then you work backwards. If we are able to secure our fishermen, we can secure the families. But that's ours. Morally, legally, politically, historically. The other thing is our potential, Atty. Karen. No? I found this out when I was Secretary of the DICT. Just look at the global map. We control the traffic lights. 3 choke points. Honshu, Japan, Bashi Strait between Taiwan and Region 1 and Region 2. Palawan. Di ba? We control. We can be the digital hub, the political hub, the security hub, the economic hub, the cultural hub, and the spiritual hub. Not only of the Pacific area, but of the world. Yung nahihirapan sa ibang lugar, sa atin dapat punta if you can tone down the politics a little and focus on the real needs, which are global.
In terms of your unfinished business in the Senate, how do you intend to strengthen national security, given the issues that you raised?
Modernize our thinking about what national security really is. The President was Secretary of the Department of Agriculture for a while. Diba? So food security, we start with that. No? But security has become very, very generic. The old demarcation lines that separated foreign policy, economic policy, and security policies have been blurred by technology. Diba?
And this is back to politics. Do you consider the recent statement of the Vice President on assassinating the President as a national security threat? But before you answer that question, we'll have to take a short break. At the Forefront, we'll be right back.
I got into knitwear because when I was already at SM, I was looking through the profile of a lot of the suppliers.
Yes.
And I realized that knitwear was very interesting because it started with a yarn, and then you could actually weave your own material. You could weave the pattern, the texture that you want, choose the right colors that you want also. So that makes you create from the beginning, I mean like from source, which is the yarn, instead of buying a fabric that's already printed or it has its stripes and texture. So that for me was a very interesting challenge.
It was alluring.
Right, and I think it's also because I love craft. So people into craft are usually they love to innovate and create their own thingy.
Welcome back at the Forefront. Senator Gringo, do you consider the statements of Vice President Sara on assassinating the President as a threat to national security?
The highest position I achieved as a public servant, Atty. Karen, was a senator. What the vice president, the second highest official in the land, says, does, or thinks is above my salary grade. But my bottom line is that's politics. We should not be distracted by that. Let procedures, no? Ethics, good manners and right conduct, thinking of the country first, bayanihan, no? But it's not my place to pass judgment on what the president or the vice president. But I can say this: is this the example we would like to set for our next generation of citizens and leaders? We're developing them, no? By the way, they're not only local leaders, national leaders, global leaders. With 14 million Filipinos scattered in 200 countries all over the world, we have overqualified teachers and nurses raising the children of world leaders. 50% of seafarers are Filipinos. If Filipinos stop working, the global economy will slow down. That's our potential. Do we want to be distracted by the threats?
Well, you answered it also like a true military man. Talagang you're very conscious of, one, just the structure, the hierarchy, and the rules.
Yes, but I'm wondering why we forgot about what we learned from our forefathers. No?
What did we learn from our forefathers?
Good manners and right conduct, mapagbigay, madaling kausap. Pero wag mo lang kami inisin dahil,
May ano rin, palaban din. Okay, so let's go to something lighter. I'll name categories and give your top 3 choices. So you don't need to explain.
Okay.
Very quickly, top 3 Philippine presidents.
Philippine President. President Marcos Sr., President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, President Fidel Ramos.
Those are your top 3 in your opinion?
With very limited choices, of course.
Top 3 senators.
Top 3 senator. Senator Lacson, Senator Soto, Senator Gordon.
Okay. Wow, but 2 are from the Macho Block, of course. Top 3 places in the Philippines that you like going to?
Sorsogon, Baguio, and Siargao, where my eldest son is.
Oh, you have an eldest son in Siargao.
Yes.
What does he do there?
Well, he has a small, open learning center with his wife. They have a son who looks more like a girl than a boy because
pinahaba nila yung hair?
Pinahaba yung hair. Surfer na at 10 years old.
Wow, so talagang ibang-iba.
It's going to be a tourist destination, maybe a surfing capital of the world. No? Planning is done properly, land use, but a lot of foreigners.
How often do you visit your son and apo?
I haven't visited them for a while.
Okay. So maybe you're due for a visit. Kaya lang may electricity problem ngayon. Are they affected by that?
They should not be. Yun ang welcoming committee pag may bagyo galing sa Pacific. Ang unang sumasalubong, Siargao. Okay. By the way, no, that's part of the ecosystem, Atty. Karen. No? We're so blessed. No? All we need to do is wake up every morning and continue breathing. Our economy is moving from 6 to 8%. The challenge is for us to make our kababayans or eating from garbage can feel this trickle-down effect.
Yes, I was going to say the growth is not inclusive at the moment.
Yeah, so we're blessed. But God said, para hindi naman magselos yung mga kapitbayan natin, no? I will make you, put you in the ring of fire. Di ba? You'll be number 1 in the World Risk Index with Indonesia and India. And then you will be the welcoming committee
of all the typhoons.
All the typhoons.
Kawawa naman ng Pilipinas. But among those 3 top destinations in the Philippines that you like going to, where do you go often?
Often?
Yes.
Sorsogon.
Sorsogon.
Yes.
Is that your hometown?
My parents are both from Sorsogon, but I was born in Baguio.
But you speak Bicolano po?
Yes.
Okay.
But Bicol more like Waray. Pure Bicol is Camarines Sur, Camarines Norte.
So mix of Bicolano and Waray yung
di ba?
language.
Matnog Crossing,
Yes.
no? Sorsogon.
Opo. Top 3 Filipino dishes that you like?
Adobo, pinakbet, laing.
Laing. Oh, laing is from, it's a Bicolano dish, right?
Yes, di ba? Gata and sili.
Yeah.
But when I was a fugitive, I had 15 recipes for sardines.
You were a fugitive because
7
at the
years.
time.
because of the uprisings. Of course, Attorney Karen, they call it coup d'etats. No? Coup d'etat is a power grab.
Yes.
We just continued what we started in 86, reform.
Oh, you were fugitive of uprisings at the time, against what? Was it during the martial law regime?
Hindi.
Or saan
During
po?
the time of former President Cory Aquino.
Nung ano na,
After
later on
86.
na, yes.
Because we felt that after people power, no, everybody went home and relegated government, something as important as governance, to government. Di ba? The time...
But there was no intention for a power grab. That's why you don't call it a coup d'etat.
Yes, it was, But we asked some of the cabinet secretaries during the time. Sabi namin, ma'am, I was still a fugitive. No? Did we really destroy the Philippine economy? Alam mo, sagot sa amin, Atty. Karen, gentlemen, you're not that good.
So hindi talaga kayo seen as a threat.
So sabi namin, so it was already deteriorating, you just accelerated it. So we mounted another uprising. Hindi naman pala kami.
And how long were you a fugitive?
7 years.
7 years?
Yep.
Matagal yun na. What type of life did you lead at that time? What about your wife and your kids?
Interesting. So that's a testament to my wife's strength and character. She was mother and father at the same time to 3 and more growing kids. Yeah.
And where did you hide at that time?
All over. I don't want to incriminate
the
those who
places.
provided sanctuary.
But it was all over the Philippines. You
All
never
over
left the country.
No.
Top 3 things you like doing with your grandchildren?
Asking them about their studies to the point of melancholy. Rough handling them. Then taking them around our little home. Doing things with them.
Do you have a favorite?
No. I have 5 grandchildren. One is in Siargao. Then 4 are in our home.
So you love them all equally?
Equally. Yeah, but by the way, our children are, you know that, our children are better than us. So can you imagine our grandchildren? They're awesome.
Awesome means?
Awesome.
Awesome, yes.
Awesome.
Very awesome.
My 7-year-old granddaughter taught me how to operate my smartphone. Lolo, kaya yan tinawag na touchscreen. Be gentle with the...
Well, we heard that your grandkids play as superheroes and ikaw daw yung villain. Do you really play with them na talagang habulan?
Yeah,
and
the challenge to me, physically and mentally, is to go after 4 grandchildren moving in different directions and anticipating who will trip or fall down first.
Yes, yeah. I have a 3-year-old son, so I know how tiring that must be to have 5 running around.
5.
Yeah. And top 3 things that you like Filipinos to remember Gringo Honasan for?
I want Filipinos to forget about me as an individual and remember me more by my children. I will be judged by my legacy, my children. They'll probably ask, who was your lolo, who was your father? They'll mention my name. Then probably the one asking the question will say, kaya pala you are a good person, or kaya pala may factory defect ka. Okay. But I want to be remembered more for the causes, the advocacies I was identified with.
And what can Gringo Honasan offer to Filipinos, considering that you have already been in politics for a long time? But what differentiates you from other candidates this coming 2025 elections?
I cannot, Atty. Karen, relegate myself to a more sedate, more low-key lifestyle. I have to be involved, I think, up to the end of my life in issues that are bigger than all of us combined. I cannot, just play golf. I cannot slow down. And my family, the people dear to me, understand that. So I want to continue as long as God gives me the energy, mentally, physically, to continue what I have started.
So in simple words, if the voters, of course, are listening to you right now, want to know what you can concretely provide or give to them when you become a senator, or if you become a senator, what would that be?
All my advocacies, all the laws I will propose, all the laws I will upgrade, try to repeal, amend, or new laws, would impact on food, clothing, shelter, education, health, and accurate, timely, and complete information. That's the best service. And at the same time, protect your lives, your liberty and your property, and try to make you as happy as you can in our democracy. And of course, with courage, integrity, and loyalty.
So if you continue your advocacy for data connectivity and data being provided among all government agencies so that it's easier for Filipinos to also apply for permits or whatever IDs they need or health benefits, do you think it can be done in the next 6 years?
Yes, even sooner. Digital education. But again, educate government. We cannot give what we do not have, Atty. Karen. No? A government must take the initiative. Political will, a sense of nationhood, one flag, no? One people, one nation, no? Together, always together. Dreaming hard, praying hard, and working hard.
Very well said. Thank you so much for your time today, Senator Gringo.
Nako, thank you so much, Atty. Karen. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Mine as well. Thank you. While he has made significant legislative contributions as a senator in the past, Gringo Honasan believes he can still do more for the Filipino people. His time away from politics only ignited his deeper desire to serve the public. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. Always stay at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow for meaningful conversations that would help you form an objective personal opinion. This is Atty. Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your hour with us.